5 famous celebrities who are HIV positive. Number 5. Freddie Mercury. Born on September 5, 1946, the legendary lead singer of the British rock band Queen, was diagnosed with HIV in the late 1980s. At the time, there was still a great deal of stigma and fear surrounding the virus, and many people who were HIV positive chose to keep their diagnosis private. However, Mercury eventually made the decision to go public with his diagnosis and announced that he had AIDS on the day before his death on November 24, 1991. Mercury's illness was a closely guarded secret for much of his life, and his bandmates and closest friends only learned of his diagnosis shortly before his death. Despite his declining health, Mercury continued to work and record music with Queen until he was no longer physically able to do so. In the years since his death, he has become an icon of the LGBTQ+ community and a symbol of the ongoing fight against HIV and AIDS. Number 4. Magic Johnson. Born on August 14, 1959, a retired NBA basketball player, announced in 1991 that he had tested positive for HIV, the virus that causes AIDS. At the time, his diagnosis was a shock to many, as HIV and AIDS was still highly stigmatized and misunderstood. Johnson retired from professional basketball immediately following his diagnosis, but he remained active as an advocate for HIV and AIDS awareness and research. He worked to educate people about the disease and to fight the stigma and discrimination that often surrounded it. Through his work, Johnson helped to bring much-needed attention to the HIV and AIDS epidemic and to promote the importance of HIV testing, safe sex practices, and access to medical treatment. He also established the Magic Johnson Foundation, which is dedicated to improving the health and well-being of underserved communities. Number 3. Rock Hudson. Born on November 17, 1925, he was an American actor who became famous in the 1950s and 60s for his roles in films such as Giant, Pillow Talk, and Send Me No Flowers. Hudson was also known for his good looks and charm, and was a popular figure in Hollywood. Hudson's HIV status was not publicly known during his lifetime, as he kept his diagnosis private for fear of the stigma and discrimination that often surrounded the disease. However, rumors about his illness began to circulate in the press in the mid-1980s, and his death in 1985 at the age of 59 brought renewed attention to the HIV epidemic. Hudson's death helped to raise awareness about the seriousness of the HIV and AIDS epidemic and the importance of safe sex practices, access to medical treatment, and public education about the disease. It also highlighted the need to fight the stigma and discrimination that often surrounded HIV, and helped to inspire greater investment in research and development of new treatments. Number 2. Charlie Sheen. Born on September 3, 1965, he is an American actor and television personality who became known for his roles in films like Platoon, Wall Street, and Major League, as well as his starring role in the TV series 2.5 Men. In 2015, Sheen publicly disclosed that he is HIV positive, a fact that he had kept private for several years. His announcement came during an interview on The Today Show, where he spoke about his HIV status and the stigma and discrimination that often surrounds the disease. Since then, Sheen has been an outspoken advocate for HIV and AIDS awareness and education, using his platform to raise awareness about the importance of safe sex practices, regular testing, and access to medical treatment. He has also been involved in various HIV charities and organizations, including the Elton John AIDS Foundation. Number 1. And Coosi Johnson. Born on February 4, 1989, he was a South African child activist who was born with HIV in 1989. He became an advocate for HIV and AIDS awareness and education at a young age, speaking out about his experiences living with the disease and working to break down the stigma and discrimination that often surrounded it. In 2000, when he was just 11 years old, Coosi addressed the International AIDS Conference in Durban, South Africa, where he delivered a powerful speech calling for greater awareness and action to combat HIV and AIDS. His speech was widely praised and helped to raise global attention to the epidemic. Coosi's advocacy work continued until his death in 2001 at the age of 12. He became a symbol of hope and resilience for people living with HIV and AIDS, and his legacy continues to inspire activists,